Hey, those watching the replay. I think everything's getting started. Instagram lets me know that we're here. All right. Hey, Chris. Hey, Jeff. Those joining. All right. So last week we talked about what does it look like for men to get started on this healing journey. This healing world can be really dominated by women. Can feel like, other than the event that we went to last weekend, sometimes you go to like a yoga class or a healing retreat or anything healing related and you're like, where are the dudes at? And why are so many women interested in this area and men kind of take the back seat? And one reason I honestly think is because women were more sensitive to energy most of the time. If you put 10 women and 10 men in a room, the women are going to pick up on the energy a little bit quicker. So our world is shifting. Like, you notice those living in old patterns, old generations, like they're kind of stuck. And there's this new wave and this new energy that is taking us like out of old ways, right? If you look at the way that some people that you feel like are either old school or stuck in old patterns or old ways how they're living, you're like, that's just so different, because it's not either their dharma or they're not attuned to energy to shift and move and walk in the direction that every human soul is here to ascend and evolve and step into higher levels of consciousness. So I'm going to bring on my good friend over the years, special guest, and he started as a client. Jason, I'm going to tell your story for just a little bit, and then I'll let you come on and tell a little bit more. He started as a client because I think he heard me on a friend's podcast, but this friend is like head of like electricity and like kind of construction business in Kansas City, really well-known business owner. And he happened to have me on to talk about health and the medical system and healing our bodies as business owners. And somehow Jason got a hold of this, and we started with his physical health. He has gone through the physical, emotional, mental, spiritual healing journey with me. He's even completed energy healing certification level 1. And his journey is really, really cool. And I'm going to bring him on to tell a little bit of his story. And Jason, I want to hear, when you come on, a little bit about your background that I think makes it really relevant to where you're at. Hey.
Hey,
Oh, I need to scoot my camera back. Oh.
I'm back to you.
How's it going?
Good.
Good. So tell me a little bit about who you are, what you do. Let's give you the street cred. You're a guy's guy. So I think it instantly makes you relatable to some of the more masculine energies that might be interested, or there will be women listening to this that are like, how do I get my man involved on a healing journey? But tell me a little bit about who you are, what you do, and then I'll ask some questions from there.
Cool. I am Jason. I'm a father of 2 kids, and I own a small business that I travel a lot with. So it's
Kind of a rough and tough business. Like you've got to be like strong and good with your hands and good with your mind, and you have to encompass it all, I feel like, in your business.
yeah, definitely. It's always a on the edge of your seat kind of job. So
Yeah. When you first, like, what was the moment? So you were listening to Josh Levin's podcast, right? When we first got connected and we were in that class together, like,
correct.
what was it? Where were you at in your life when you're like, oh, this healing journey thing, like maybe I want to start that?
I honestly thought about that. I didn't know you were going to ask that, but I was kind of thinking like how we even got hooked up. And I think because at the time I was very stressed out. I had a lot going on. I mean, a million times, well, maybe not more than now. I just deal with it different now. But at the time, I mean, I was just overwhelmed and stressed, and I wasn't feeling good. And at the time, I was on, I think, 6 different medications that the doctor said that I had to have. And I thought, every time I took another pill, I was feeling worse and worse. And I was like, there has to be more than numbing who I am and my life. There has to be more to it than that. And then that's kind of, then I listened to your podcast, and then.
Yeah. What was your background before? Because I know we'll talk a little bit about where maybe you're headed, like as an energy healer and just a masculine presence in the healing space. But you were volunteering, working in prisons, correct?
Years
Like
ago. Yeah,
with
years in like the prison style ministry of it, of going into the prisons and talking to the gentlemen and
yeah.
just trying to let them know that there's a different way to life, you know, like here's the book, so let's use it. So we would go
Hmm.
a couple times a week.
What did you see either transform in you or in those guys when you were in the prisons?
um that's kind of funny because for me it was a big deal just trying to help people, not even really necessary, I know it sounds weird, but not even to maybe find God, but just to find themselves.
Mhm.
uh, that there was a better way than what they were doing, whether it was, you know, addicts or you know, I mean, we dealt with everybody, you know, and we talked to everybody.
Yeah.
Uh, it gave me a different appreciation for different styles. A lot of guys just came in there because no one else ever came to the prisons to talk to them, like to get them out and get them socializing. So a lot
Mhm.
came for that. A lot did want to live a different life, live a healthier life, you know, but they didn't know how to get there. Some guys had never even seen a Bible. Like they'd never actually touched a Bible till they got to prison. So it was a
Wow.
thing. Yeah.
Do you think there's things that, because of where you've come in your healing journey, there's things or pieces or energy that you could take back in time and even do more service for them, having gone through what you've gone through now in your own journey?
Oh yeah. It'd be completely different presentation, if you will, from where it used to be.
I might come back to that here at the end as we chat. So just tell us like where you were and as much or as little as you're comfortable with, like when you're like, all right, something's got to give. I'm on these medications. The doctors are telling me this is my life. From my lens as your practitioner, now your friend and colleague, like we started very physical, like with the physical layer of healing, and then slowly crept into the mental, slowly crept into the emotional, and then now you're at this like spiritual place of healing. So tell me, according in your lens, like your journey, what it's been like
Um, it
when you're
was,
like, I gotta call Jen, because
it
you
was,
literally did. I
I,
was unloading my dishwasher and I got this phone
yeah,
call.
I had honestly I'd hit rock bottom, if you will, of like giving up on doctors not feeling well, panic attacks 24/7, trying to drive a semi down the road, having to pull over because the panic attacks are so bad that you're just trying to just make it another mile or 2 miles. And I'd had it. Like I knew the medications that I was on weren't going to get it, you know, just because you numb me isn't going to make me better, you know, and that's honestly where I was, you know, on blood pressure medications, cholesterol medications, you know, and I'm not at an age where I should have to be on any of that, you know, and I think it was just more and more the stress in me. I couldn't go anymore with that stress.
What
So
was that stress building up in your body?
lots of trauma. We've worked that, like knowing what I know. I mean, it went clear back to when I was a kid that I had taken with me and never shed any of that, you know, and just added to it.
What's it like as like a guy, like especially a guy's guy, to carry all that and then get to this place where your physical body is like falling apart, and then you're like, well, take these medications or look at this stuff in my body. Like what happened? Like tell me. I've never asked you that too. Like
So
what?
I don't, oh, sorry.
No, go
I,
ahead.
I don't think that I realized like anything in me, like in my mind, in me was causing that. It was just like, that's what we do as men. We keep going and
Mm-hmm.
we go to the doctor sometimes and we get some medication, we take it, we're going to be all better. It was never all better. It was actually every day was worse, like
Mm-hmm.
than the day before. And there was new medications and it never really got better, you know?
Did your doctors ever talk to you about like, hey, there might be some stored energy in your body or trauma from previous years in your life? Like, did they ever acknowledge that?
Absolutely not. I did have a doctor tell me, you know, maybe we should go talk to a counselor. And then I was kind of like, oh, okay. When do I got time for that? You know, like I barely got to come see you, you know. So
Mm-hmm.
I mean, but that was the extent of it. It was never, hey, maybe this symptom is caused by the whole emotional thing from as a child or as a teenager, as whatever, as a 20-year-old father, maybe it's this trauma built up that's causing all this.
Do you think your body was, and I think this is a double-sided question, but do you think your body was actually ever really sick, or it had a lot of energy and trauma built up that needed to be
Yeah,
released?
I don't think it was sick. I mean, I think that the stress and trauma and stuff that I just been packing on for all the years, um, I think that's what it was. I mean, I know that's what it was now because I'm not on any medications and
Mm-hmm.
I'm good.
And you're not, I mean, without giving away too much that you might want to give, like you're not even not on any medications or anything that could help support you regulate your nervous system or yourself artificially.
Right. Yeah, I'm on nothing.
Yeah, that's amazing. What was the first step? Like, what did we start with? So you call and you're like, I don't feel good. And then what happened from there?
Um, I think I came and met with you. We talked for a while, and then you were like, "Hey, maybe you should eat food instead of that crap you're putting in your body." So the
Did I
first bit,
say it like that?
yeah, I think it was like a little matter, but no, it was like for me personally, we worked on what I was eating and things like that in the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
Where are we at? I
Mm-hmm.
think we did some blood work in that
Mm-hmm.
first thing, so that really showed like, hey, we need to work on all this, not just all that.
Yeah, we looked at different ranges, relationships, ratios in your doctor, with the high cholesterol. It's like, no, you're not a couch potato. There's like toxicity and inflammation and things in your liver that are like your liver's like a sump pump for your heart. I'm not worried about your heart. I've always told you, like, I'm not worried about you falling over from heart disease. I'm worried about this liver being congested and your hormones and your digestion and your mental health.
And a good example of that, and I will bring up, I always thought, if your liver goes bad, it's because you drink. I haven't drank in 24 years, so that I always like to bring that up is definitely not because of that.
Yeah, it's not. And there's even a lot of people with, I mean, they say fatty liver, there's non alcoholic fatty liver, fatty liver. It doesn't, most of the time in my practice, I see it have to do nothing with alcohol.
Yeah,
It's a lot in our liver, talking about like an energetic center. It's our solar plexus, so our sovereignty, our autonomy, our power, our relationship to ourself, our relationship to be autonomous, powerful, sovereign in our own world. Like, where were you at? And when you think about relationship to like when you were having issues with your liver and on those medications to
I
feeling
was
that.
way broken with myself. I didn't know who I was at that time, for real. Like I had no idea.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, every aspect that you just mentioned, I think I was completely lost in every one of them. Not, you know what I mean? Like it definitely caused, just being broken was helping cause all of it. I mean, besides the foods that I was eating or not eating, but
Mm-hmm.
it
So,
definitely played a role in it.
so your energy field was affecting your physical body.
100%.
So what started to change?
Um, well, when I changed the diet at first,
Mm-hmm.
that changed like my energy levels, things like that. And I did mention to you a couple weeks ago, just for a little test, I went off of your ridiculous diet for a week, and at the end of the week, I was sick. Like I was physically like not okay, and was like, oh, we got to get back on that. And
Mm-hmm.
um,
You bring up a really good point, and some practitioners would tell you that that means you're metabolically inflexible, and I disagree with that. So a lot of people who might, practitioners or health junkies, whoever is watching this, like, oh, you should be able to eat whatever you want and not have this reaction. That means your body is metabolically inflexible. No, it actually means that your body's clean, and a clean body knows the difference, right? When
right,
you clean your body out of inflammatory foods, inflammation is like this Great Wall of China. And as you stop eating inflammatory foods, there's no reason for your body to keep that protection. And then that wall comes down. You don't have any protection. So when you go to eat those things again, your body freaks out and is like, well, what is that? I remember not liking this. So, oh, Emma's here. Hi, Emma. Good to see you. Um, and so as a guy, Jason, like rough and tough guy, who's had all of this, let's call it like this box of trauma, of like energy, of things from the past, like stored in your body. What was the point where you were like, I got to open that to feel the way I want to feel and go where I want to go? Like, how did that feel? And what came up in your head as a guy and as a single dad and as like just all of the things that go on?
I guess I really didn't know until you ripped it out of me the way you did, like that even was in me. You know what I mean? Like that even needed to come out until walked me
How
through.
did I rip it out of you?
Uh,
Please tell our audience.
Talk about that? No, I mean, through energy healing, you definitely pulled.
I didn't rip it. It came out.
Yeah, I did. But yeah, that's honestly how it came out. And it was weird because when that came out, it was like a light bulb went on and everything went in a path, you know, a straight path of which way we're going here. Like I knew we were going up. We weren't going back down anymore. We weren't staying here. We were moving up, you know?
Do you remember the back pain that would like cripple you?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. And like the emotional release you had when we worked with that back pain, and then the
Yeah.
back pain like was gone for a
Yeah.
while. Like tell me,
I don't remember what we worked on that day because we've worked on a lot, but
yeah.
I do.
That was several years ago too.
When I came into your office, I couldn't hardly walk to get inside. I do remember that. I remember sitting in the chair and couldn't get up, and then I left there skipping out, just happy-go-lucky. But
Tell everyone what you call this work lovingly that you're now certified in. And now on the other side of it, what you just like to call it.
voodoo.
Voodoo.
Voodoo. It's definitely voodoo.
Also known as somatic energy healing, trauma removal, body-based practice. Because sometimes you gotta, like, I mean, as a guy, in my opinion, you gotta have something like fun to poke at it. Like, I'm gonna go do this energy healing and talk about my feelings and be in my body. Like,
Right. It's an awkward thing. So you just kind of poke fun out of it, like, ha ha, brush it off like it's no big deal. And one thing I did want to say before I came on and you were talking like, why guys, you know, like I mean, all these things I've been to, it's me. I think there's been one other guy to yoga or something one time, but you know, I think it's a lot of like how, as a guy, I grew up, you know, our parents, our dads, you know, the male, we're supposed to be men, like tough it out, you know. Well, toughing it out is what put me so sick. I couldn't get off my couch for months. You know what I mean? Like toughen it out. Like ain't nobody's got to know what we're doing. You know what I mean? Like just go do it, just for real. Like I wish I would have, you know, we started this journey, you and I, 3 years ago, and then I came back January, February of this year, because once again, I wasn't doing what you'd shown me. I'm like, this is whatever, it's voodoo, you know? And then this time I just took my whole life serious of like, something's got to change or I'm not going to be here to make it change, you know?
what about that notion as a guy, like when you're tough, you can just put whatever in your body and you just need to be tough about it. Like whatever you eat or drink, like we're dudes, we just, whatever, we're garbage disposals.
Yeah. I mean, not like that. I just thought, hey, I'm hungry and that's sitting there. You know what I mean? We obviously can't.
Yeah.
We can't our bodies. As a guy, we can't. As a female, we can't. You know, it's definitely, it put me on a bad path, you know, from my job of being in a hurry, leaving the house at 3 o'clock in the morning, running out as quick as I can. And then just stopping throughout the day definitely kept me.
Yeah. And what, having the physical body, like, so you, I mean, you take care of your kids full time. It's you work your job, double overtime. It's you have a business, you have a life. Like, how do you make it work when you're like, okay, I know I have to eat these foods, and it's a little bit different for every person biochemically, but like, here are the things I need. They're not convenient. I can't go through the drive-thru and get these things. Like, how do you make it work with everything that you have on your plate and still maintain like how you feel as a masculine?
Well, I mean, today that's what we did. That's what I not we being me. I sat here all day for my week. Like literally I cooked everything I need for my week, just set it up. I know what I got to eat tomorrow. I know what I got to eat Tuesday. You know, I just have to set it up. And it's kind of funny though, Jen, that you say that, because I'm like, when we first started this, I'm like, I don't have time for this. I don't have time. I don't have time. I don't have time. I mean, still working 12 to, 10, we'll say 10 to 15-hour days. I'm gone, and I've got time for it. I've got time for the exercise. I've got time for the meditation. I got time. It's weird how much more time you actually do have when you start pulling some of this out and you're not trapped by it all the time,
Mm-hmm. So if you
it's a weird, I will say this, because I know there's guys going, it's a weird feeling at first of just going in and seeing you and bringing out this stuff, because as a guy, we don't know what to expect. We just know we're supposed to be tough. When we're in there with Jen, we're not supposed to really tell her everything. We're definitely not going to cry while we're there. The list goes on. And I think that's burnt into our head as men. But honestly, I feel I'm way more powerful now than I was before I met you and started hanging out, however you want to see it, started seeing, coming in and seeing you. I feel my head's screwed on where I can make a right decision now, where before I don't know if I could even have made a decision. Mm-hmm. In fact, I couldn't. That's why I was coming, because my decisions were here. Let's take some more blood pressure medicine, cholesterol medicine, so.
What is it like for guys with me or any practitioner or someone they feel their body feels comfortable going in to see? You might feel nervous, but you'll feel this like, okay, my body can actually sit and be here. Like and when you say, we're going to cry or we're going to do this, like, what was it like to have that box opened and these pieces of you brought to the surface? And how'd you feel after?
It was not something that I wanted to do, and started coming out. It was weird, but afterwards, the relief, I'd do it 100 times over, that relief, that just lightness, the heaviness going away, of it literally opening up the path to see how everything else was going to work, as a guy. Everything was kind of a little overwhelming at first, like, how am I going to get all this, but then when I started stacking stuff, like, okay, I'll get this done in a few days, and then this will get done, and then I can just keep aligning all the way through,
Yeah. And when you could vouch for this, you don't cry every time you come in, right?
I don't ever cry. I'm a guy.
But some of like opening that box and looking at those parts, it was worth it to be able to walk out of my office without back pain.
Yeah, for sure. Without back pain or liver pain or just brain fog completely. Like, it's weird how much of that all was lifted from just energy healing,
And the panic attacks were kind of the last thing to go for you, yeah? Like the anxiety, the crippling emotion.
Well, yeah, we removed, in June. Like, I mean, they weren't happening every day at that point, but they were still coming a lot,
Even after you had been doing the work, right?
Yeah.
You think it was just a matter of time, or there was another level of your healing you unlocked then? You just had to keep going
keep going. I think the more things I just worked on myself, the more that would come out and come up that I could remove and be okay with, Yeah. I don't know. I haven't really thought about that, so it's kind of
What was going through the energy healing certification? So now that you're certified to work with other people, what was that like? And what drew you to it? Well, I think we know a little bit now. What drew you to it? And then what did you get out of it? And then I love the story of the three. So many of those parts you want to include that I know other people would like to hear.
I should have grabbed my book, because then I could remember everything from that day. So before, like, the energy, I mean, you told me I had to go. So that's why, no, I'm joking. You told me it would be beneficial if I went to that. Some things happened before that I realized, maybe this is a journey that I want to go down on the energy healing. And then, like I said, you forced me to go. So then once I got there, before I got
Jeff is like hearting, like sending all the hearts. He wouldn't know what it's like to be forced to do anything.
What's that? I couldn't see thing. The so the threes. So the morning of the certificate or the certification, I was like, "What am I doing?" Um, well, when it started, and that morning it was kind of weird. I didn't know anything about angel numbers or anything like that. I was just like, whatever, let's just get this rolling and get it out so she won't tell me I need to go. So that morning I started the course whenever I took off from my house. And I'm trying to think of everything that happened that day because I should have brought my book because I did write it down. But
You woke up at 3:33, I think.
I woke up at 3:33 and didn't think anything about it. Left, went down the road. Something happened at mile marker 333. Then there was a license plate
I was
333.
talking about my story with 333 in the course.
Story in the course. I was listening to it right as I think I was passing a sign or something on the highway that was mile marker 333, and it just kept on like all these things. I'm like, okay, I get it. I'm there. So that's honestly at that point, it was so weird to me. I was like, okay, I got to dive all the way into this so it'll just stop. Like all this, it hasn't stopped.
And you pulled up in the trailer you picked up was 333.
333 on it too. That's right. There was a whole list of stuff. Like that day was so weird.
It was cool. You sent me that message. You're like, all right, Jen, I'm ready. I'm ready to change my life. And I mean, there was a lot of things that synchronistically happened for you in that training.
Yeah.
I mean, there's like so many personal reasons that maybe one day we'll tell everyone why I think why you showed up. But if you could go back to the prison and be with those guys that you were with 5-10 years ago and now have the tools, like what would you tell them different, or what would you add to it, and how would you be able to serve them now?
I think I could definitely tell them that, instead of like the medications, the drugs, the whatever, that they can literally heal themselves from the inside. You know what I mean? They can heal themselves. They just have to get on that path with a little bit of guidance,
Yeah.
Definitely feel like 99.9% of me was all you helping me walk through every little bit of this, and it wasn't every little bit, it was one big thing. And then everything just kind of poured in behind it of, getting better, like being a better person. Like everything in my life has changed. That's what's crazy. Like my kids, they're with me the most. And they're like, we were just talking 2 nights ago about it, and both my kids are like, you're a totally different person. Like totally different. Everything about you is different. So, and it's weird because I don't see it as different. I'm still me, but they're like, just how you act, how you talk, how you're happy, where before we didn't think you were ever going to be happy again, where you just smile, you're smiling. So
Yeah.
I would like to be able to, if I could go back and tell them the journey that I've been on, I mean, go back to prison, that's what I would tell them. There is a dark hole. I've been there. I know all about it, and I'm on this side of it. And there is hope, if there will, there is a chance to pull out.
So I have 2 questions. One, I'll tell the questions and then you can answer them both. One, for the women who are like, they're on this journey and they just want their dude to join them. How do they, like, what would you tell the women that want their guys to join them? And then 2, I'm going to ask you a specific question about what you would tell guys, including 3 things. So what, like the women who are like, I'm on this journey, Jason, I just want a guy that would join me that's, done what you've done. And like, I want my man to do this. So like, what do you tell them? What do you have them do?
Just don't overwhelm him. It just that's with you. It took literally we'll say 2 years of working, trying to understand what it was I was trying to get from you. Does that make sense? If like, just bear with him, just baby steps into it. If I would have had somebody walking with me through it, it would have been completely different, of just like baby steps, maybe food, maybe, a little bit of healing. But I think if you dump it all on somebody, they're going to be like, whoa, keep your voodoo to yourself. I don't need that,
And I was honestly surprised when you came back. I was like, okay. And here's the thing on timing, like you can give someone something. We didn't do a whole lot of anything different.
Nothing.
This second time around. You just were more ready for it.
Right. And that's the thing, that's what I'm saying. If you force it on somebody, if maybe little pieces at a time, they'll pick up, and that can grab little pieces of it and understand it, because it is a lot, you know, when it comes to energy. Like, I do think you guys get it a little better than we get it, understanding wise, you know, because to me, whenever I first came, I was like, what did I sign up for here? Like, for real, like, what am I doing? I mean, I get to see my friend, but my friend's a little voodoo-y, if you know what I mean.
Yes.
But yeah, it was confusing. You know what I mean? Like, okay, like we talked about all this stuff. So I would just say, go slow with it, whether it's food first or maybe some talking, or, you know.
Jeff has given me some of the best advice, my fiance, for those who don't know, um, around my dad's healing, and especially not necessarily my relationship with him, but other family members. He's like, your dad just wants somebody to listen to him, be his friend. And then when we come from that approach of like understanding him and not trying to change him, oh, it goes so much better than, hey, this is wrong with you and you need to change this and you're not good enough here and blah, 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 blah. Like that, I mean, can you speak to that if someone was just like, Jason, you have all these things wrong with you. We need to fix who you are instead of just add to who you already are?
Yeah, I mean, people have been doing that to me forever. You know what I mean? Like, this is wrong with you. Fix this, fix this, fix this. If anybody would have just went on the ride with me, we probably could have got here. You know what I mean? Like, I'm glad it all happened the way it did, because my life is turning a direction that I'm glad it's turning. You know, I mean, 100%. But jamming it down somebody's throat's definitely not going to, you know what I mean? Like, well, that's wrong with you. So if you do this, you know, maybe it's, hey, try this. Don't even give them a reason why. As a guy, just be like, do this, you know?
And for women, if you ever find yourself doing something because you hope that your man friend or whoever will come join you in it, you're not in alignment and that energy is inauthentic and they're just going to feel that. So if you're doing something that lights you up, like Jeff, he eats the way I do and drinks the celery juice and does all the things, and I literally never once asked him. I never asked him to change his diet. He ate terribly. He had like ate ham and Dr. Pepper were his two foods that when I met him that he ate and that lived in the fridge. And
Sounds
he
delicious.
just, what?
Sounds
Sounds
delicious.
delicious. Oh, the old times. he but he just saw me making celery juice and was like, yeah, I'll try some. Okay, that's not bad. And he's like, well, and I've asked him, I'm like, why did you change? I mean, he even like knows how to read the labels, and he's the one that does the grocery shopping and makes the new recipes. And I never was like, Jeff, we can't eat these foods. Don't buy these things. He just was like, well, I saw what it did for you, so I thought I'd try it for me, and it was pretty good. So preserving from the inside out, yes, that is what you were doing, Jeff. You're preserving your organs. So Jason, with so you started with the food and now you've gone through the physical, emotional, mental, spiritual. You're like at the top of your game. What are three things that you would, and this might be three separate things or just three things that you would give those guys in the prison that you used to work with, now knowing what you know, or just any guy whose wife, fiance, girlfriend, friend has sent them this video and be like, hey, you should listen to this. This guy's on his healing journey. I want you to be too. Like three things that you're like, hey, maybe if this is for you, if a guy's interested or curious and just kind of tiptoeing around it, what would you tell him?
Honestly, I would tell him to check it out, first of all. I mean, just try to understand it. Like, if it feels like it's too girly and it's not part of it, there's 900 other parts. You know, there's so many things when it comes to energy healing to get you in a line. Yeah, I just keep going back to, I just keep thinking, you know, like a guy, looking at it as a guy, I could knock about half of it off and be okay with not seeing about half of it, because to me, it doesn't pertain to me, but it might pertain to, one thing might pertain to somebody else, you know?
Yeah.
Um,
What are your three steps? Like going back to Jason, day one, when I met you, you say, Jason, you're going to succeed. You're going to end up at a place you love in your life. Here are the three things you need to get started on right now. And as long as they take you, so be it. But these are your three things.
Definitely food. That would be the number one thing, because that quickly changed me. Definitely meditation. That was dramatic once I learned and understood how to meditate and what I was doing. Game changer for me personally. It completely changed how I looked at all of this. I would have to say the third is definitely try to find somebody that you can trust to help you walk through the journey, because it is a weird, kind of scary journey to go on. You know, you definitely want to trust that person. Don't just do it because your wife, your girlfriend, your friend, you know, just make sure that you can
I want
trust.
to add in something from your perspective on that that you might not think to say that I think will be valuable. Jason would message me, email me, contact me, however, and be like, I always remember saying, "Hey Jen, I just like, I know I'm kind of like saying a lot, doing a lot, being a lot. You never were, but you didn't have really anybody else in this arena. But you're like, you just wanted to communicate and talk about all these things that you were feeling and experiencing, going through, and have a sounding board and have someone be on that journey with you."
Yeah, for sure. Good or
Yeah. And the so having someone, the meditation, did that help you just remove yourself from being a reactor and becoming an observer of your life, like seeing things from a different lens, different perspective?
yeah, for sure. It just, you know, a lot of the stress I was dealing with when it came to, well, everything that I was dealing with, just it just slowed me down enough to be able to see what was really going on instead of the stuff that I'd created in my head that wasn't really, I mean, it was there, but not to the, you know, the dynamic that I was making the stuff, you know, the
Yeah.
different,
And then the foods, they change your frequency.
for
They
sure.
literally change your energy field. And so that when we went in and did some of the like the energetic work, the somatic work, just it's literally getting, if we could see energy, it would look like little tumors in the body. We had to get those out for you to function, for anyone to function optimally. But the food allowed us to operate at the frequency where that was possible.
Right.
Yeah.
For sure.
I think
And
Shelly has a
I
go ahead.
will, I will bring that up. You know, I would come in there with different pains, and it was really weird to me. That was probably the weirdest thing, was when I would go in, we'll say chest pains, but because I can't think of any, you know, back pain, you know, and then when we found out what that back pain was really from, something 10 years ago, 12 years ago, because I've had back pain that long and it's like gone, you know? So it is, to be able to pull that trauma, you know, that was a big part of what we did. You know, I don't want to act like it wasn't, because it was huge. It was probably bigger than the food to me personally, because so
Yeah.
much on that table, you know,
Mm-hmm.
multiple. So
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. Shelly has a question. She said, "Don't you think you finally got so sick of coming back to the same place? You finally tried something that let your mind clear and you were able to listen to your body?"
well, yeah, yeah, that's why I kept coming back, you know.
Yeah.
And I was coming to your office, but I wasn't just relying on you to help me figure it out. You know, I was also at home going, I can't feel like this anymore. What else is there? And that's actually, I think I called you and been like, Jen, I need something else. Something's not right. I think I was just willing to go to a retreat
Yeah.
in the world.
Which you are.
I am, I am. But I was willing to go anywhere in the world just to feel different, because I was still tired of feeling like this. And then I actually called a retreat. They told me, that they offered this certain type of meditation, and that I got hooked up with somebody here in Kansas City, and it was on like that. It all happened quick. So
Do you want to mention what it was that you did? Are you able to? I don't know the ins and
I don't
outs.
think I'm able to. It's
Okay.
kind of, I think I can on a different level, but I can't like this.
You can message Jason and find out.
I can do it. I know I can do it like that. I don't think I can do anything like this. So
Okay. He'll tell you. And then if you're interested in our healing retreat, our medicine healing retreat, January 15th through the 20th, Yelapa, Mexico. It's on my website. You can DM me, you can DM Jason. We have a couple spots left. We would love to have you on. Who else is, if you're feeling like a light up in your body about this experience. So awesome. Anything else you want to say, Jason? Or any questions for Jason before we let him go? All the girls are like, how did you do this? How can I get my husband or my person started?
it is, just don't force him. You know what I mean? Like, for real, just talk to him. You know, don't whip out all the crazy at once,
Yeah.
because it's a lot.
And when it comes to relationships, you are, even if you feel like I am just like Buddha and he is just like the antithesis, like if to be in a relationship with someone, you have to be vibrating at about the same frequency. You might have periods of time where you feel a gap, where you feel a little bit of a drift, but to be with someone in a union, you're actually pretty resonant with them. And the more you go along your journey, maybe there's a guy listening and he feels this way about his like partner that's a female, and or any kind of dynamic of relationship. But as you move along in your journey, like if you're in a relationship, you're about the same frequency. The more you ascend and go and pay attention to you on your journey, they're going to either have to come with you. And I've seen that in my relationship with Jeff in both ways, things I've learned from him and things he's learned from me. Like you're going to have to keep moving in the same direction and humming at the same frequency, or you won't be with them. So that can work for you too. If you feel like you are spending so much energy and time towards depleting you that you're trying to get your person on the bandwagon, maybe things are trying to drift apart, and that's okay too, right? Yeah.
That is kind of funny because about halfway through my stuff, somebody, yeah, it's funny.
You had that experience as a guy.
Experience of thinking somebody was not necessarily on the journey with me, but supporting the journey. But then as stuff came out and I was doing better, I realized the comments of, since you started this journey, you're an ass. And it wasn't an ass. I just saw who you were. I personally saw who they were and had to go, okay, yep, you're definitely not heading forward with me. You know, you're definitely not on this path. So it does happen.
Yeah. Amazing. You're getting some love. I want to read these comments. Love this. Jason, you're so inspiring. Thank you for sharing your perspective. Thank you for speaking to the fellow healing men in this community. We'll just ignore what Jeff said. It's not relevant. He's talking about our dog, but he'll always have her, but it's fine. Weird. Very strange. All right, Jason. Thank you. So your 3 things that you were to say for a guy to get started. Pay attention to what you put in your trap, what you're consuming, what's going in one end out the other. It's important. It changes your frequency. Number 2, meditation.
Maybe drink waters instead of just 2 Cokes, you know, like
drink some water,
splash some Coke in there, or whatever Jeff.
And number 3, you would have somebody walk through this journey with you. Yeah.
Yep. Find the right person to walk through it.
Yeah. Whether that be a friend, a partner, a practitioner.
Right.
Find your community, and you found that. I feel like a lot of your community at the training.
So much love from especially the people I've met over the last, we'll say, month. I mean, there's just been so much love, you know, and support. So there's definitely, for a guy, there's definitely people out here that it's crazy how the embrace is, you know. Mm-hmm. I'll reach out to me, reach out to Jen. There's definitely people that care.
And masculine, you are so needed in this journey and in this dynamic. Like Jason held down the divine masculine of our energy healing training group of 15. And on the last day, the women, I can't tell you how seen, felt, and adorned they felt in their feminine, because he went and bought flowers for everyone and laid them individual, like picked them out per person, laid them in their spaces in the training. And that's just a perfect example of the masculine, like holding the container for the feminine to feel safe in. So thank you for that, Jason. And we'll just ignore Jeff's spamming comments and content he's putting in the comments. Okay, let me see if there's any relevant questions here. I know, Jeff, you haven't had soda in years, and yes, you were a Dr. Pepper man. I'll give you that. All right. We all in this. Yes, we are. Thank you, Jason, so much.
Yep, I appreciate it.
There'll be more questions that come in, and then maybe we'll have another conversation here soon.
Awesome. Talk soon.
Yeah. And for those who are still listening, we're here every Sunday night at 7, the Energy Healing Live. You can catch more information for the Yelapa retreat in the link in my bio. If you need support yourself outside of this community, inspirehealthbyjen.com. Energy healing retreats, functional medicine, it's all there. All right, guys, thanks for joining us on this Sunday, and we'll be back next week.